Well. Weren't we meaty today, people? Maresca, man, you threw it away, bro. You threw it away. A lot of players that came into the lineup today, you lot are nowhere near the starting 11 for Sunday. Nowhere near right now. You know what I'm saying? Hella disappointing performances from Maresca, from the team. It just wasn't good enough. Yeah? I'm going to break it down, people, because going into this game, I was expecting a mishmash of the first team and the second team, right? I knew we were going to see a lot of changes in the game because at the end of the day, you know, we've got an important game at the weekend. You know, we've got some key players that we can't be having injured at the minute. But at the same time, we were playing Newcastle away, right? It was never going to be an easy game. And I knew that Newcastle wouldn't be able to make wholesale changes because number one, they haven't got a squad like ours. And number two, they want to win a trophy, right? So going into this game, we spoke about it on Blue Diaries yesterday. And for me, I was saying, listen, the likes of Caicedo and that, I would start them, yeah? Just to, you know, have a little bit of solidity in that midfield. Because for me, starting Vega in that midfield, he's not a midfielder for me, right? You play him in there when it's last resort. When I'm talking about last resort, I'm talking about if guys are injured, yeah? Or if you're inverting him from left back to go into the midfield and then to go back into his natural position. But starting him in there, he's just not that mobile. That's the problem. He's good at breaking lines. He was breaking a few lines today, playing it into Felix and that, punching it into Felix. But overall, he's not as good as Caicedo in the midfield. He's not as good as Lavia in the midfield. Heck, he's not even as good as Andre Santos in the midfield, right? We have a problem with our depth in terms of our sixes. Got a lot of attacking midfielders, the likes of Dewsbury Hall, Carney, you know, Felix, if you're not adding Cuckoo to that, Palmer. So many attacking midfielders. But if we're starting Lavia and Caicedo, we literally have no sixes that can break up play. Because Enzo might be a 6. I call him more of a 5, like a deep line playmaker. But he's not there to be breaking up play. He's there to dictate the game, right? And that's a problem in itself. Because you need someone else that can come in when these guys aren't available. And unfortunately, we just haven't got that person, you know? But starting off with the lineup, when I saw the lineup, I'm seeing Disasi right back, which is something that I just hate. I absolutely hate Disasi at right back because this guy, you know, he just doesn't know how to break the line over there. You know, he gets cooked. Yeah. He always does something weird when he's playing at right back as well. Yeah. I can't remember last season against Leicester, man scored an own goal from right back. Yeah. Today, he got the ball barely under any pressure. And it just, I don't know what he did. He just slipped on the floor. You know what I mean? And on top of that, he scores an own goal. Right? Gusto's in Maresca's plans clearly to start at the weekend, but he came off the other day. I don't know if he's nursing an injury or something at the minute, but he's meant to be our backup right back, right? He could have at least potentially started the game. Like I said, I don't know about his fitness because he's been injured recently. It could be that. But this Disasi at right back thing, I'm sorry, it's just not it for me. It will never be it for me. Yeah? He's lucky he was playing, you know, it wasn't Gordon that was cooking him on that side. It was Willock. And obviously, you had Joe Linton that was pushing on that side as well. But overall, our right-hand side was dead. You had Disasi at right back, Dewsbury Hall at right wing, people. Obviously, Sancho, cool. He was ill. He would have probably started at right wing. He would have probably started Mudryk at left wing, yeah? But overall, the setup today was just not good enough, you know? The first half, the game was lacking a lot of quality from both sides, in all honesty. Wasn't really creating much. I was seeing Felix trying to make things happen, but it just wasn't pulling off, you know? Was keeping the ball, but we wasn't creating anything with the ball. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And for the first goal that we conceded, right, that was a bad goal to concede. That was a bad goal to concede because Badiashile, right, I know we're trying to play out from the back, but you can clearly see that Vega is getting pressed, yeah? And you know Vega's not as press resistant as Lavia, you know, as Caicedo, right? Know your players limitations. Go long if you need to there because Newcastle, all they were doing in the first half was pressing us high. That was the game plan. That was a clear game plan that came from Eddie Howe. Press these guys because number one, they're not playing their strongest 11. And number two, that is how we are at our best. When we're pressing high, winning the ball high, that's how we score a lot of our goals. And that's exactly what happened for their first goal. They press us high. Vega loses the ball. For me, that was mainly on Badiashile for giving him the ball under that much pressure. And, you know, it's just basically business as usual for Isak. He ain't got to do much. And during that period, we struggled to recover. They scored another goal within 5 minutes from a set piece. I don't know what was going on the right-hand side. It's like Isak had so much time and space to put a cross in. And then Disasi just can't get his feet together, right? Before you know it, 2-0, you know? Now, I was looking at it and thinking, yo, we've still got a chance to come back because I'm looking at the bench. We can bring on Madueke, who can change the game on that side. We can potentially bring on Palmer as well, change things a little bit. You know, I was hoping Nkuku would start to turn up in the second half. Boy, oh boy, the second half was the same fuckery, you know? At this point, Newcastle, they didn't have to score because they're already 2 goals up and they can clearly see that we're not playing that well and we haven't got that much. You know, our bench wasn't that bad, but it's not as good as what we usually see in the Prem because usually we start with our first team and then you've got the B team players on the bench. This time around, you had the likes of Gill, obviously Madueke, Palmer, who didn't get any minutes today. Obviously, we've got one eye on the game against United. So the bench today wasn't as strong as what I've seen. You know what I mean? So I was depending on the players that were playing to start to turn up. And in all honesty, in the second half, the patterns were a lot better, as you would expect, because the players had a lot more time from the back to break the lines. You know what I'm saying? Badiashile played a nice pass to Mudryk at one point, through the lines. Mudryk crosses it into Nkuku. Nkuku fluffs his shot. There's about 3 chances that I counted where Nkuku got the ball in the box, in a dangerous area, and it could have done a lot better. Yeah? There was 2 shots that we had in the box that were blocked by Newcastle. Very good defending, but we need to have a little bit more composure in those sort of situations, right? Because for me, listen, we was attacking them and was on top of them in the second half, and we just needed that one goal. We needed that little bit of quality in the final third, but it just wasn't coming. Like I said, Newcastle defended very well. At one point, Joe Linton was literally making them into a back 5. They were doubling up on Mudryk on that side. I thought Mudryk's crosses were quite dangerous, to be fair. But overall, we just weren't able to unlock the door. You know what I mean? We kept huffing and puffing. We just run out of ideas. You know? Cucurella getting into that left half space, trying to make things happen. But unfortunately, like I said, the game was already lost in the first half, right? And I've got to look at Maresca a lot for today's game. A lot. Yeah? Obviously, like I said, I'm not at the training pitch. I'm not, you know, backroom stuff. I don't know what's going on with these guys' fitness and that. But we need to start getting into the habit of allowing these guys to start to get used to playing 2 games a week. Especially when we're playing these sort of opponents like Newcastle and that. You know, if we get an Arsenal in the cup, if we get a Liverpool in the cup, if we get, you know, I don't know, one of the harder teams that you play in the league, right? You need to start to learn to mishmash the team. And the rest of the B team players, they can be on the bench and then they come on. Yeah? Because today, like I've said, I looked at the lineup, I just was not confident. Yeah? I've been confident recently going into games, predicting games and that, but I didn't know how we was going to set up. Yeah? And this is the slight problem when you've got a big team like this. There's times where you might want to experiment and it just doesn't work. Today, the experiment flopped. So many players were poor today. Enzo, better in the second half, but poor in the first half. Badiashile, shocking in the first half. Disasi, poor. Jorgensen, average. You know what I mean? Cucurella I thought was okay. Nkuku, poor game today. Poor game today. And that's why I keep telling people he is not a striker. Jackson right now is our striker. Yeah, that is our 9. Yeah. He's one of the first names on the team sheet going into the game weeks because, like I've said, Nkuku doesn't stretch the pitch enough. It makes it so easy for centre-backs to mark him out the game because he's just not a striker, right? And unfortunately for him, like I've said before, Felix is starting ahead of him in his position, yeah? I thought Felix was actually trying to make things happen, and in the final third, you know, he had a clear chance that he should be buried. I don't know why he's trying to toe it in. Just, bro, you know, go around the keeper there, or just a nice little dink. You know what I mean? Something nice and pretty. Don't be trying to just rush it, you know? I like the fact that he likes to take shots outside the box because we haven't really got that many midfielders that do that. He's one of the few that actually likes to shoot from outside the box, which is good. But overall, just not good enough in the final third, like I've said, people. I thought Madueke was dangerous in parts. His crossing was actually quite good for the corners as well. But now it's 3 games in a row that I'm seeing us whipping in the ball and 0 goals. Yeah? This is what I'm saying, people. I know that's another way of trying to break down low blocks, but we aren't that good in the air. I've seen us crossing the ball in the air against Liverpool. I've seen us crossing the ball in the air against Newcastle today. I saw it the other day against Newcastle again. Not a single goal scored from it, right? Because we just don't have an Omarodian profile that's starting right now, or Osimhen profile that's good in the box. Yes, I didn't want Omarodian because, like I said, his all-round game is meaty. But I bigged him up in terms of his box presence. I said in the box, I think he'll be quite good in the box. I think he's got the attributes that I like from, you know, these physical sort of strikers in the box. But it's just his overall game wasn't good enough. And right now, it's like Mark Gill is just not trusted at all, you know, because he's that sort of profile that's quite physical, quite tall, and, you know, can try and make things happen in the air. But constantly whipping it into no one, just losing the ball, it's just a waste of time. I want us to be attacking teams on the floor and whipping it in the way Man City do. Whipping it in on the floor, because Man City aren't that tall either. That's how they score a lot of their goals. Before you know it, the ball just bobbles everywhere in the box, and Kuku can just tap it in. Felix can just tap it in. Mudryk can just tap it in. That's how we scored our goal against Newcastle last year when Mudryk came on. The ball was just, you know, it was in the box. Mudryk comes out of nowhere, finishes it, you know. This thing about crossing it in the air and that, I'm not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it, because I just feel like it's a waste of time. Our team, we're not built for that sort of football. We need to be keeping it on the floor. You know what I mean? But listen, it's a howler today, man. It's a howler because obviously this is a competition where we got to the final last year. Fucking hell, I was at Wembley. Obviously, Van Dijk scored that header in the last minute, and I was expecting to hopefully get back to Wembley at least. You know what I mean? You know, it's a nice little competition that you can win quite early, build a lot of confidence in the team, give them a little bit of, you know, heal that starvation that we've got at the minute, because it's been a minute since we've last won a trophy, bro. It's been a minute. I'm jarred today. I'm not going to be throwing stuff and getting mad and that, because at the end of the day, it's one of them things where you just have to learn from it. Maresca has to learn from it. When it comes to the FA Cup, mix and match the team depending on the opponent. Don't disrespect the team too much. Don't think about, oh, I've got to give guys minutes too much, right? Because you can't be doing that against every single team when it comes to, you know, different competitions, because at the end of the day, it's going to be detrimental to the team. Yes, I believe we've got a good squad. Yes, I believe we've got a good team. But again, Newcastle are not a bad team. We did it better than what we had today. You know what I'm saying? If you play an imbalanced lineup like what we did today, you're going to have many, many players not playing well. That's what was happening with Poch. He kept playing an imbalanced lineup. Yeah? So this is something that Maresca can learn from. I thought he was quite naive today. He got it wrong. But the players don't escape no criticism, because they weren't good enough either. Like I said, Kuku was poor today. Poor up top. Right? Dewsbury-Hall, non-existent, but he's not a winger. I don't expect him to play like Noni and Sancho and all these, man, because he's not a winger. Right? Enzo, like I said, in the first half was poor. I thought in the second half, he was actually making things happen on the ball, trying to get a lot of balls in behind, you know? But overall, we move, man. We've got a big game now at the weekend, you know, against United. I'm expecting a massive reaction against these guys, because honestly, bro, I've had Terry and that in the group chats all day trying to involve themselves in conversations now because they've got a new manager. My man hasn't even turned up at Manchester yet to take any pictures. And they're talking about, oh, is your squad really that good? Is your squad really that better than us? And I'm like, brother, I'm not really trying to look at you, man, this year. You know what I mean? Yeah? You might need to focus on Spurs and them, man, there. Right? So we need to make sure. We need to make sure at the weekend that we beat these lot, bro, because it's been too long that we've won at Old Trafford. Right? And if we beat these lot, as annoying as it is that we're not going to win the Carabao Cup this year, this performance will slightly be forgotten about. You know what I mean? If we go there and we lose, it's just going to be a snowball effect of, oh, we lost the other day midweek against Newcastle. We couldn't bounce back. You know, we're failing these tests. It's just going to be irritating. Do you know what I mean? But listen, people, let me know what you think about my thoughts, man. Let me know what you thought about the game. Maresca, like I said, I feel like he just kind of threw the game away today, man. I'll be real. We didn't even see Palmer come on. We literally saw one sub. We saw one sub the whole game. You know, he was just depending on these guys to do something. And unfortunately, Newcastle, they just defended very well. You know what I mean? They defended very well. It is what it is. We've got to hold it, man. But in a bit, people, man. Love.